Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
You know, I had this video just go viral, and I must have said one thing wrong. They took the whole thing down. You know, I started out talking about all the things that are in the middle of my chest and what represent me. So that must have been something that hit a nerve with the crowd, and it's definitely what got everybody's attention. So I'm going to point at a lot of things and say that what's in the middle of these people's chest and what's on their wrist, that means what's in your heart, what's in your actions right there. So, you know, what people believe and what they believe is their religion is one thing for their own. And they are the CEO of this SpaceX, which I love SpaceX. I think it's cool. Their newest rocket, it's called the Dragon. And got that X on the end of everything. But NASA is a word that's called Nasha in Hebrew. It's pronounced that way. It means to deceive, right there. And this latest thing, the Dragon, it carries 7 people into space. The Dragon. And it's, you know, the 7 heads. I'm sure that's coincidental. And this dragon thing, I'm sure that's all coincidental in the book of Revelation. A lot of this is marketing. You know, and then to put that X on the end of almost all of those things, it also has this word, and that has an X in it. And this is a new thing too. I think that's why they shut down what I said last time, because of that. But this is the 10th Roman Legion. I can't see too much wrong with that. And that X means 10 in Roman numerals. And you can see where they hung out on the Mount of Olives right there. And they destroyed Jerusalem. And then they put those X's everywhere. So X's all over the place. The 10th Roman Legion was also known as the Bulls. And when Jesus was being crucified, and he quoted the words of King David 800 years before, he had talked about them right here when he said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? It goes on to say that he's been encompassed by bulls right here. And it says right here, they pierced my hands and my feet. And this is where they were casting lots for his cloak, which is what they did. Again, every once in a while, I just must have said something wrong, and then that's probably the misinformation that we come up with. So we can read all about this, the future, and the X all over the place.
I think this one's a bit of a stretch. I know that Elon has done some suspicious things, but I think he's just a weird guy who doesn't have a line in the sand whenever it comes to a sense of humor. I think at the very least he's a non-believer being used for good, and the Bible says that that will happen to fulfill God's plan. Elon Musk is one of the few threads this country is holding on by. If he had not bought Twitter and restored freedom of speech on that platform, there's no telling how much misinformation we'd have to sift through to find the truth on anything now. There's a reason our government hates that man, and personally I think that the Antichrist will not be such a divisive character, at least not in the beginning. I think he'll fool everybody, but that's just my interpretation of things.
What is going on in England right now? The government is pretending to be ignorant to the effects of mass immigration, while at the same time gaslighting their own citizens by saying they are the problem. Their hope is if they stoke racial tensions, they'll get to a breaking point and there'll be some sort of event, a mass unaliving. This will allow them to bring down draconian security measures and institute a social credit score system. Because almost every Western government looks at China and they are jealous of how they can control their citizens. Why do you think all relatively free countries are having the same exact problems at the same time? Oh, bollocks.
And why is every single Western nation going through these exact same issues? Because it was all planned to play out this way. And we, the people, have fallen right into their traps and allowed them to divide us. The only problem now is some people out there have gone so far off the deep end they can't be reasoned with using logic anymore. I don't know what we do about that. How do you save those people and bring them back from the brink of insanity? They've been buying into the propaganda for too long. That's one major problem we're going to have to solve if we're going to get this world back on track. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this type of content, I post a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me. Also, don't forget to check out my merch store at www.barry-stepp.com.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy Party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Stay away from Unwish Island.
As far as I'm concerned, this should be evidence enough that this was known about all over Hollywood for decades. If they're making references to this stuff in children's cartoons, then this was likely an industry secret that everybody was aware of. How did the writers for The Simpsons know about Diddy parties? How did the writers for The Fairly Odd Parents seem to know all this information about Epstein Island whenever Jeffrey Epstein wasn't even being investigated yet? They need to interview these writers and find out where they got all this information from. This likely goes so deep it's going to bring down all of Hollywood. Ain't it exciting? I like the way this kid makes his videos, just typing stuff up that he's searching for and letting you make the connections between the images. I feel like I've seen most of these before, and some of them I honestly feel like are a bit of a reach. Every single one of those Google logos were dead on. The Chrome logo, the play button, the Gmail logo. Didn't they start off with a company motto like "Don't be evil" or something like that? That's starting to look like a classic misdirect. They've been using these logos since the offset, so it makes sense that they'd change that slogan. They never believed in it in the first place.
The difference between a wartime and a peacetime flag. I saw a couple of presenters because there's people getting their sovereignty back around the world. What's the difference?
The difference is the wartime flag is the flag that everybody flies on the 4th of July and the holidays and all that thing like that. No one knew there was a peacetime flag. The peacetime flag has been out since the beginning of time, since the United States, and the United States of America. And it used to fly on all of the buildings back in the 30s and 40s and 50s. Okay. Then the corporations came in. All right. So the flags, they switched because of, World War I, World War II. They had the wartime flags and everybody was rah, rah, America, which is a great thing to do. But they never changed the flag back to peacetime flag. Why? Because they were always in a war. And everybody became accustomed to the flag that's flying on every flagpole and house now. That's actually the wartime flag. The civil flag is the stripes are the other way. We're at peacetime. And the flag now that has the gold fringe, the United States has been captured. The gold fringe. And that means maritime flag, which means it's run by the Pope and the Queen, the British territorial government.
Now, what's the difference between land and soil jurisdiction and admiralty law? Because there's a lot of talk about the Queen, the Pope, America, and the standard mind of an American, those are separate.
Right. The maritime law is run by the Queen, all water, inland waterways, oceans, and whatever. She's supposed to protect everybody that's on the high seas. That's maritime law. That's British territorial law. The land and the soil is the 6 inches, the soil is the 6 inches of the top part of the ground, and the land is beneath that. So the land and soil is international. And we belong on the land and soil, and we are the owners, the people. We, the people, are the owners of the land and soil. Excuse me. So anytime you're on the inland waterways, you're under the rule of the Queen. We're allowed to go out boating and fishing and so on like that, but you have to observe maritime law when you're out there in your boat or whatever you're doing on the waterways. They have control of that.
Now, okay, I've heard that there's different constitutions.
There are.
And I mean, the average Joe like me 3 weeks ago, I thought we had one constitution, and I thought that was being just dissolved because all of the rights that I thought were guaranteed to me were gone. What are three different constitutions?
Okay, the three different constitutions, you actually know what the Constitution is. A lot of people don't know that there are three, okay? They're contracts for the people to keep the government in line. That's why when Biden was running for president, the Constitution's just another piece of paper. Same thing with, when Obama was in there. We don't need the Constitution. It's just a useless piece of paper. They want to get rid of that because it holds them bound to what the people have the rights to be and to have. So there are three: the territorial, the municipal, and for us, we actually live under the Declaration of Independence and the amendments and the articles.
So the Constitution is a contract that we can keep the government in check.
Correct.
We live under the Declaration of Independence.
Correct.
Okay, who formed the other constitutions? The one with the isn't the amendments as well as part of the Declaration of Independence?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, those are for we the people. The constitutions are to keep the government and the corporations in check. But they're running amok. They're getting rid of them. They're making laws, like all those statutes and everything that they say, well, you can't do over 35 miles an hour, or you have to do this, or you have to do that, or you have to have license plates on your cars. It's all corporate law. It's put out by the corporations to bilk as much money out of us as they possibly can. That's all those are. As an American national, you don't have to pay any attention to any of those laws because they're all statutes.
I get real nervous putting any of this sovereign citizen content in here because I feel like a lot of people go down that rabbit hole and end up getting themselves in a lot of legal trouble. There's absolutely some truth to some of this, but it's so difficult to dig through it all and find the stuff that's not sending you in the wrong direction. I put this in here for a reason though. I've been wanting to research this topic for a long while now, and I wanted to see if we had any viewers who could point me in the direction of a trusted source on this topic. If you know someone who makes content talking about this type of stuff without all the extreme hardcore views mixed into it, please leave their name or a link to some of their content in a comment down below.
Look, I see.
Memphis, the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, I wish that was funny. Yeah, okay, so I want to talk to you about alignment.
I wish that was funny.
Memphis, where our new god will come from. As we see here, Elon's AI supercomputer project is in Memphis, Tennessee. And as you heard from Elon himself, how Memphis was the capital of ancient Egypt. And we can see in the Bible, Memphis is a symbol of the consequences of turning away from God, deception, and folly. Now, the Hebrew name for the ancient Egyptian city of Memphis was Noth or Moth. Not sure if I pronounced that correctly. And now the city of Memphis had several other names, including the meaning of the house of the spirit of Ptah. Now you may be asking, who is the spirit of Ptah? Well, apparently this was the ancient Egyptian god of creation, arts, crafts, and trades. He was also considered the architect of the universe. Ptah was the chief deity of Memphis. And we can see here, according to the legend, Memphis was the first capital of United Egypt. Makes me think of the Tower of Babel, where everybody was united. Oh yeah, a nice little hand sign there, Elon. So you're telling me the guy who wants to implant a chip into your brain and tie your consciousness with AI, who also says that AI is summoning a demon.
Artificial intelligence for summoning a demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy...
I feel like this just further exemplifies my point from earlier about Elon. He just has a very out there sense of humor. He's been one of the most, if not the most, vocal people out there speaking against the dangers of AI. He's building his own AI, but as far as I know, it's the only AI out there that promises to stay open source so that we can all see the code and know exactly how we're being manipulated. Don't get me wrong, I'm no Elon Musk fanboy or nothing, but I think when it comes to that man in particular, the good far outweighs the bad.
I think it's really weird that we're just now finding out that the second moon is actually not 33 feet. It's 2 kilometers. And based on the data that's been coming back about it, it's moving faster than everything else in orbit, along with accelerating and slowing down and maneuvering around other objects in orbit.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
Which to me doesn't sound like a second moon or anything natural. Of course, this is for entertainment purposes only, always, everyday entertainment purposes. Don't take anything seriously that I say ever, or TikTok will take it down. But the data is there. If you look it up, the data is there. It's accelerating, it's slowing down, it's maneuvering around other things in orbit, and it is massive. Okay, love you, bye.
That's kind of exciting. If that's true, then someone's absolutely going to catch that on video. We have too many armchair astronomers out there for this to just go unnoticed. I'm crossing my fingers that we'll get us a good clip here in the next week or two.
Holy sh**, I just saw something. Yeah. What the f***?
Oh, I see that. I feel it.
When I first saw the phenomenon, it was like, holy sh**. But then it was actually like, whoa, what is happening? Am I losing my mind? But then I showed other people, and things kept getting weirder.
Just for the record, I haven't told him anything. Okay, just tell me what you see.
Oh my god, come on.
I showed over 100 people, and I kept asking myself, how are all of us seeing the same thing?
Oh my god, it's changing shapes right there.
The laser was revealing numbers and letters running in a pattern.
They're almost like this big here, and it looks like code.
It looked like programming code.
It's definitely saying something, and I just want to take a picture of it and translate it.
Wow.
You see that?
Okay, so yeah, it's not stuck.
No.
It's not because of the light.
No, it's on its own side.
And each angle shows you different layers, different ways through it.
I can see through the wall.
It's not like a hallucination. It has spatial awareness and permanence.
I don't know. Whoa.
For centuries, mankind has attempted to explore these altered states, but we've never had a repeatable, testable phenomenon to observe until now.
Wow. It's like you can see through the laser into another dimension.
The claim is, if you project a diffracted laser on the surface and you smoke DMT, you will see code running in surfaces. Yes, like in the Matrix. So there are a few possibilities. One, I lost my mind, which isn't the coolest losing your mind ever in history. The second option is that this is the biggest discovery of humankind. If anybody ever asked themselves what it would be like to know you live in the Matrix for sure, well, I know for sure. I'm convinced. So where do we go from here? All I know is it's about to get crazy.
First off, unfortunately, I have to say, do not try this at home. There could be something going on here, or it could just simply be that he got a lot of people really high on DMT and had them stare at some laser, and their eyes are reacting to the drug and not the laser itself, and giving them some sort of a visual hallucination. It's absolutely something worth digging into and researching further, but when you introduce a drug into the mix, I feel like the credibility of your test subjects is going to get called into question, and it's going to make your data questionable to most researchers. I could be completely off base here, but that's the way I see it. This is really interesting though.
This guy is a vegan billionaire and he has to take 60 pills a day.
Normally I would take 60 some odd pills. Is it better to get intravenously or subcutaneously?
He has to take 60 pills a day to get the right amount of nutrients in his diet as a vegan. Being completely vegan is an end times deception that was prophesied in the Bible. 1 Timothy 4 verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly. So when Paul was writing this, the Holy Spirit came all over him to say this. That in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. One of them is forbidding to marry. Oh, we got that going on a lot right now in the last days. And commanding to abstain from meats, which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. And you're about to find out why abstaining from animal products completely is a doctrine of devils. Now, not wanting to eat meat is one thing, but Proverbs 27:27 tells us, "Thou shalt have goat's milk enough for thy entire household and for the maintenance of thy maidens." Even in the book of Genesis, when the Lord appeared to Abraham, he sat with them under a tree while they took butter and milk and a calf. Right, that's red meat. The Most High literally stood by them under the tree while they ate that. There are so many vital nutrients that your body needs to thrive that are in animal products. So many of the vital nutrients that are in animal foods cannot be found in plants. Different vitamins, A1, B12, DHA, vitamin D, iron, collagen, which just makes your skin look youthful, which is why vegans look so unhealthy. Like, look at this guy. It looks like he's about to pass. And he's a billionaire. He should have access to the most nutrient-rich foods for the vegan diet. But no, he has to take 60 pills. Now, I don't think anyone should be eating unclean meats. Right, in the book of Daniel, the king's meat was unclean. So Daniel did the Daniel fast, right, for a time and a period to abstain from that unclean meat. Right, don't eat pig either. Pigs are unclean. They have lots of parasites. You should be eating grass-fed beef, grass-fed liver, and eggs. That will get you looking and feeling your best.
When I was 29 years old, I went vegan for a year and a half. I didn't do it because I was an animal rights activist or anything like that. I just had really high, like crazy high blood pressure and cholesterol, and decided to fix it by not consuming anything with cholesterol in it. It worked. I completely reset my system, and to this day, at the age of 41, where I'm currently at, I still have great cholesterol and great blood pressure. However, a year and a half was all I could make it on a vegan diet, and I had to quit because I started getting sick constantly because of malnutrition. So I can agree with most of what he's saying here, but as far as I know, you're still allowed to eat pork. I think that's an Old Testament rule that says that you can't eat pork. I think under New Testament law, you're allowed to. But I'm clearly no scholar when it comes to the Bible, so if I've got it wrong, I'm sure that y'all will correct me in the comments, and I appreciate it if you do.
Southern Russia, there's this thing discovered that they are calling the Karachashaft, discovered by Arthur Zhemukov. He discovered at the top of the mountain this small hole, and it was this deep, narrow, vertical shaft. And then when they dropped 130 feet down, they discovered a bigger room with these giant megalith slabs that had right angles put together.
What?
Everyone concluded that this is in fact man-made. The megalith slabs that were in it looked almost identical to the base of the pyramid of Khufu in Egypt. Arthur did not discover this fully by accident. He was obsessed with studying the history of the Nazis and the occult, and he saw that a group of Nazis went to the Caucasus Mountains and supposedly found something. When he was up on the Karachashaft mountain, he saw this boulder with a swastika carved in it.
Oh no.
In 2015, Arthur came out and said, after exploring it even further, made a revolutionary discovery. The next day, he was hit by a car and died. All the other team members that were involved in it, within that same year, they all died.
I just wonder what that guy found down there. I think it's pretty obvious that he got taken out by the government or somebody that didn't want him spreading awareness about whatever it was that he discovered. You could call it an unfortunate accident, but not after every single member of his expedition team died in the year following his death. That's just a little too suspicious for me.
I mean, you gotta give credit where credit is due. Check this out.
My non-religious people should love the Bible. Here's the truth. I am non-religious. I don't practice any religion. I don't go to church. However, I still think that the Bible is one of the greatest pieces of literature ever written. And I think that because I believe the Bible is the spinal cord to all of Western civilization. No moral values that you hold would exist without the Bible. Case in point, take a look at a person like Harvey Weinstein, a guy who sexually assaults women in order to get what he wants. In modern day society, we view this as reprehensible, and rightly so, because viewing it as reprehensible protects the powerless and it protects women. However, in ancient Rome, if you were part of the wealthy class, you would be expected to treat women in this way because the value system of Rome was set up in such a way that it valued strength over morality. Now you might be thinking to yourself, oh well, if I lived back then I wouldn't have thought that way. Bullshit. You are a product of the moral system that you were born into. And if you live in the West, the moral system that was handed down to you was one that prized morality and ethics over strength and brutality. Those thoughts came from the Bible and came from Christianity. So do you value a world which prizes liberalism, democracy, and personal freedom? Then my brother in Christ, you should probably start giving the Bible the credit it's due.
I think there's so much truth to this. I'm not currently a religious person, And I say not currently because I feel like that's going to change soon, but I've not been religious for most of my adult life. Yet I was raised in a Christian household. We weren't staunchly Christian, but enough that I was taught the moral code of ethics that's presented in the scriptures. I believe in family and treating others with the respect that you want to receive. I believe in the value of human life. I have extremely Christian aligned views. Part of me wants to say, well, of course I believe those things. That's what's right. But I know that part of me believes those things are right because that's what I was taught. And we're all, to a degree, a product of our environment. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end this video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're so close to 100,000, and I sure appreciate everybody that's helping me get there. It's very exciting. Don't forget to check out www.barry-stepp.com if you'd like to order yourself a shirt, a hat, or a hoodie and help me support the channel. Thank you to all of those who have ordered anything so far. I greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to post a photo of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.